Good evening.
Good evening, good morning, good night, depending on where in the world you are.
And welcome to this Thursday's episode of Neuro Strategic Coach Live. I am, contrary to what the display says, I'm Coach Mario Garcia.
I'm Dr. Mario Garcia.
He likes to say his name. So welcome. We had a little bit of a gap in our last broadcast. We know we were jumping into a NLP training, our first one on Zoom. So 5 days of fun for if anyone's watching from that last graduating class. If you are, congratulations to you all.
Absolutely.
So we had to take a little week off, but we're back.
All right, and we've got a wonderful program for you today, as usual, with topics of relevance. And of course, we're keeping it simple. Today's topic is defining high performance, and guarantee you that the world needs high performers now more than ever.
Yeah, 1,000%. We like to think that there's buzzwords or things that people are saying right now, like mindset coaching and things. And high performance is, I think, one of those buzzwords or one of those things that a lot of people are saying and kind of getting into. But what exactly is high performance when we think about it?
What does it really mean? Well, the definition of high performance, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, is able to operate to a high standard and at a high speed, high velocity, high impact, high energy. That's what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. So as we talk about high performance and how to achieve it, which is what we're going to go over today, there's a lot of things involved. And now, as you look at the definition, able to operate at a high standard and at a high speed, that means consistency, like off the bat, high standard, and also the standard is how good you do something, right? So if you do something to a certain standard, it would almost be the quality of your service, or one would even say like how well you do something.
Right.
So as we talk about it, what I want to compare it to is basically when we talk about high performance, what comes to my mind is a car. So what we're going to talk about here is the 5 gears of high performance.
That's because he was into cars always as a young kid. And you know that high performance, health, and happiness are founded in the strategic management of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
You had a lot of energy back then, and you still do. But when it comes to cars, it was really his passion. So I just didn't know any other younger person that was so passionate about high performance cars
and putting money into the money pit of a high performance vehicle. So we're going to go into the 5 gears of high performance. Not for your car, but for you. Yes.
Absolutely.
So the first gear of high performance is clarity. We've mentioned clarity before, but if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there fast? Especially if you want to be a high performer. The destination is absolutely important, and it's just as important now as it was in old days. I mean, even back then when you had MapQuest and you had to print out directions, you still had to know where you were going. You couldn't get directions and a plan and a strategy, if you will, without knowing your destination. You have to get real clear about what it is you want, where you're going, and how you intend to get there.
What has been very instrumental to me and the people that I work with, you know, both in the military, CEOs, and any leader or professional, is that they're clear about 3 important areas in their lives. Mm-hmm. Number 1 is who they are. And I like to say, when you know who you are, you know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is what they desire. And number 3 is how they intend to go from where they are to where they want to be, but in relationship with other people. And I think that that's important, because when you know this, you can stay, true to yourself. You're authentic, you're in the zone, and you create high impact. Without clarity, no way you can reach that high performance at home, in relationships, or at work, or your profession, or in business.
Exactly. So you got to know where you're going. So when you really figure it out, even if you think you're not good at goal setting, even if it's not, your cup of tea, you have to at least know where you're going. So you need to establish that real fast, real quick.
Absolutely.
To get out of first gear. Second gear of high performance.
Wow. Energy. Energy is power. Everyone has what we call, at least in the Neuro Strategic Coaching Institute, we call your energy signature. As I've competed in Spartan races, both of us, and ultimately, actually, I just got my Ironman VR medal. That's virtual, right? Because COVID-19 has stopped pretty much all the races. It's experience and a generated, heightened, and sustained level of energy. I learned it in the military. It comes through training, it comes through discipline, and definitely focus. And you can feel a high performer's energy signature. They don't have to tell you who they are. They don't have to tell you that they're a high performer. Most people that are verbalizing that are wishing that they are, but they may not really be. Because when you're a high performer, it's a way of being, it's a lifestyle. You know, what I love about the Spartan and some of the other things that we're involved in is you see folks, you know, my age, 60 something, right? I'm 61, chronologically anyway. You see 70-year-olds, you see 80-year-olds, and they're high performers. They're out there doing it. Why? Because they make good choices of nutrition, conditioning, and practice. And that's what it takes to have that energy signature where you're imprimatur. That means when you just walk along your path of life, everyone catches it and they say, hey, you got something, coach. I want some of that.
Yeah, I think it's really apparent. Basically, when you walk into the room, somebody can feel your energy, and it's all about how you carry yourself. So from the moment you walk into a place, how you're carrying yourself is is part of your energy that people can actually pick up on and then hone on. They can be attracted just to your energy, just how you present yourself and walk into the room. So having that energy, and obviously that would show up on how else you take care of yourself. Obviously we say kinds of things, you know, like getting good sleep and supplementation and all these other things. But the energy you come in with is a strong thing, and it's a strong presence. If you were to ask someone or just observe it, the body, they can say what they want to say, but how they carry themselves and how they come into the room from the moment they step in, they own it. I think that's a high performer is going to own the room. When they walk in, it's almost like I think of somebody walking into like the press room of like after an NBA game or an NFL press conference. When they sit there after a championship game, it's just like, yeah, they're literally covered in sweat. I know I stink, but my stuff doesn't stink. They're out there and they're like, yeah, well, you know, we did good. We played good. We gave it 110%. And here I am with the trophy. But the energy that they give you is just, it's apparent, and you can tell who the high performer even is just by the energy that they're pushing off.
Right. And it's their behavior. Again, their way of being, the words they are declaring, how they carry themselves, everything about them, what we call here your energy signature, it shows.
So let's go to the third gear of high performance, and that is determination.
Tell us about it, coach.
How bad do you want it? I mean, that's essentially what's going to get you through anywhere. Anything can get you motivated, but what's going to actually, your determination for how bad you want it is going to get you there when you hit roadblocks, when people tell you no, or when you try once and fall. I mean, a lot of people have done one thing once and failed, and it wasn't for them. You know, school's not for me because you had to withdraw from a class because you failed, and then you started failing, so you withdrew, or whatever the reason is. But how determined are you? How bad do you really want something? And how is the determination, is it strong enough for you to consistently try and try again to get what you want?
And all that determination is about having your eyes on the prize, on the bullseye, right? It's that target identification. You're intentional. You know that the decisions that you make are forming your character. It's either going to be weak or strong. You're either going to be a warning or you're going to be an example. And that determination helps high performers get ahead, because when everyone else is quitting, oh, I can't sell enough homes, oh, nobody's buying real estate, all those excuses. What do we say about excuses? People make excuses to what? Excuse their limitations.
Yeah, people give you two things. People either give you what? Results, or they give you reasons, right? Why they got it or why they're not getting it.
And so it's when everyone else quits, first signs of criticism or difficulty or risk, high performers, that's when they put it into the next gear.
Yeah, absolutely. They're totally determined. I mean, they're going to get what they want. Whatever they set their mind to, they've gotten. And if you actually look at the track record of an actual high performer, you're going to see that they've consistently got what they want.
Absolutely right.
Okay. So that is the third gear of high performance, determination, which we're going to go now shift into fourth, and it's productivity.
I like fourth gear. I got to tell you, I learned how to drive stick shift in the U.S. Army. I was 17, and it was in Germany. It was this little VW. Oh, my God, did I struggle. The clutch, you know the drill. You've done it before, perhaps. And if not, no worries. Because high performers simply produce in the same amount of time, but they produce more than everybody else. They're not average. Their expectations are not set at just hitting the target. They aim high and they
Mhm.
hit it every time. Instead of low performers who set the bar low and that they always miss.
Mhm.
They get into experience at a much deeper level than other folks. That's what high performers do. Why? Because they're efficient. They want to get ahead faster, and so they have more clarity, energy, and determination.
As we talk about the third gear, right? Determination. If you're determined, but you're not productive with your time, it's gonna, like you can be as determined as you want to be, but there's gonna be a lot of wasted time going on here. So when you're talking about productivity, take a look at what you're doing now, and take a look at what what your results are. I mean, we're big believers of like what you're getting is in direct correlation to what you're putting in. You're reaping exactly what you sow. So if you're not getting your outcome, take a look at the equation and the work that's being done there, and show your work. But productivity, look at how you're doing something now. Is there a better way to do it? Can you simplify it? Are you doing things that are wasting time, or that could be more time consuming? Sometimes obviously it's easy to do some basic tasks, but the need for control or for perfection can hinder productivity, and even hinder the project or what you want from even coming out in the first place.
And sometimes you're in that productivity mode and you're in fourth gear, and sometimes you just have to drop down the second gear again and get the energy. Why? Because it requires you to draw upon sources of energy, your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, and your physical energy, to come back up and get that shift into the next gear. Failure to do so, guess what? It just puts you back onto that average track. That's not high performers. Energy is released by either you use it or you don't use it. And if you don't use it, you lose it. And so if you're in that track, what you got to do is you got to get back into alignment. Sometimes you got to go out there and check the tires, check the engine, see what the oil stick is doing, right? You may have some problems with your own gear shifts because you're in the wrong strategy. So going in at this level takes you then to the next gear.
Yeah, to be a high performer, you got to be productive. You got to maximize what you're doing with your time, and it's time to start delegating if you're not already doing so. And speaking of delegation, let me talk to some people here. Joe, what's happening, brother? Good to see you as always. And Stephanie, you're the best. It's the Mario. Stephanie is the latest timeline therapy trainer that I know on the block.
And I'm number one fan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stephanie.
Yeah, she's telling everyone to get back into alignment.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic. So as we go from the fourth gear of high performance, which is productivity, we're going to go into the fifth gear of high performance, which is influence. If you are a graduate of our legacy leadership program, you might know a little saying about influence, and it's that one can never
not influence.
You can never not influence somebody. Right. That means you are always influencing people, whether you are thinking you are or not. And again, we talked about buzzwords right now. We talked about mindset, and we talked about high performance, and these are like big buzzwords that are all around the coaching world, or even the human growth and development world, if you will. But influence is huge too, because people are influencers now.
Absolutely.
They post videos and I'm an influencer.
But an influencer is
I'm influencing.
It's really a builder.
Feel fluenced.
An encourager. I'm thinking about you're on the trace track, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make a pit stop. You have this team of mechanics, right? Why? Because influencers, high performers, do what? They build people. They're better at people's skills. They give others their time. They care. They're giving the energy. And as a result, other people respect them. Again, it goes back to that second year. They see your energy signature and they want to be part of your peer group. They want to be part of your tribe. Yep. Because the high performer helps others, right? Encourages. You can see their generosity. You can see their kindness. And it helps if that high performer takes the lead sometimes. You got to be the pace car, man.
Absolutely. Again, so it's whether you think you're influencing people or you think that you aren't, realize that somebody's always watching. And even when you're not, I'm watching through your camera. But you can never not influence. So think about what you're doing, because somebody's always watching you, and people are, and you affect everybody. When you go live, for instance, when people are seeing what you're doing, mm-hmm. you're affecting people, you're reaching people, whether someone's watching this now or whether they're watching it later. A high performer is always influencing people, but even if you think you're not high performer, if you're thinking you're not a high performer, you're still influencing people. So just as we give you that direct correlation between the result of what you're getting is basically showing us what you're putting in, your influence in others and what they're seeing and they're observing of you is apparent from what you're also putting out.
And it's important. You got to take time to fill up your energy levels. You got to continuously do maintenance.
Yeah,
that's what we talk about training.
What's happening, Mike?
It's Mike. Hello. You've got to continue to build, and that's growing, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. So what you've got to do, you got to learn some things that perhaps you don't know. Maybe you're at a level of unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know, but maybe you're trying to move into that mastery. And some people think it's like a microwave. You press a button and you're there. It's not what happens, folks. You got to fill your energy levels and extend yourselves beyond what you may believe is possible. See, I like to say, meet me at the intersection of curiosity and wonder, drop the next gear in. Guess what? Your miracle is about to happen because someone is always looking at you. And if your attitude and your energy is on the downslope, because maybe you get stuck. Hey, everybody's gotten stuck. I've gotten stuck. Who's not gotten stuck out there, right? Stuckness. But you don't live there. You don't marinate there. Right. You got to get in the next gear and establish performance routines. You got to get rituals, right? To strategically manage your expectations and get into that high performance energy.
It's basically about getting aligned. You have to be aligned. You have to be alignment and congruency are two words. I mean, as well. And since we're on the theme of cars, how fantastic would alignment have been if I would have thought about that yesterday while I put this together? But hey, it is what it is. So, but yes, being congruent, being aligned. If you're not those things, it becomes apparent.
Right.
It becomes apparent if you're not congruent and you're not living your life aligned. Other people will see that too. We talked about energy. We're talking about the power of influence, and someone's always watching. So, what are we going to do now that we know these things, right? We have the 5 gears of high performance, but how are we going to take some practical ways to apply some high performance?
I think it's extremely important. And, you know, when you're talking about the racetrack, even the guys in the driver's seat, they have someone in their ear. That guy's a coach. They're watching their gaps. And so it's important to take time for thinking about thinking. Self-care is extremely important. Now, I know a lot of people have had time to do self-care during the quarantine, but perhaps you've not been focusing on what you need because you're thinking about what's not going right.
Right.
And so that focus is not going to get you where you want to go. What you want to do is take time to think about what's possible. See the future as if it's now and invoke it and declare it. And that's not some positive thinking or some affirmations. I call them declarations.
Yep.
That means you declare into existence that what you want now. That's what faith is. That's what hope is all about.
Take time to think about thinking.
Got to do it.
You meditate sometimes to clear your mind, but in essence, sometimes you want to get focused because other times when we strategize, we put together a to-do list. And there's no energy, there's no passion inside of these things. So you got to take that time to do what you need to do for yourself, but also, like I said, self-care is vital. You need to take care of yourself, and that goes along with the energy things that we touched on earlier. Get some sleep, and I'm the one to talk because I clearly I know the baggage claim is real right now because I'm cranking right now and business is just booming on all cylinders. So
even though everybody else is saying, "Oh, poor is me," there's no business.
The high performers are making money right now, and I know Mike, if he's still on, I know Mike. I think Mike's called the inspection company like 3 times.
Mike's killing it.
Mike is crushing it. So high performers. They're burning fires in the winter. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But you got to take care of yourself.
It's a must. What else do you have?
We got the next practical way to high performance: turning off the devices.
Shut them down.
Not the one we're on. These things, these ifanies.
The smartphones, not so smart if you don't use them appropriately, if you don't use them wisely. Go for a walk, read a book, journal.
This is probably your biggest distraction.
Totally.
It's probably almost everyone's most important tool to make money. I mean, we take calls on it. We do things on it. You know, we do lots of things on there. We also play games and Candy Crush and other nonsense.
AKA procrastination station.
But how exactly how well is your phone serving you when it's entertaining you?
Uh-oh.
So it's time to turn off the devices, especially when you're doing certain things. We like to tell people, especially in live training and settings and environments, it's like close all the other browsers. And in some cases, even if it's not on a device, think of all the things, all the programs you're loading in the background of your life. Close all those windows and those browsers too, because multitasking and all those things on a computer, just as it's going to be going on in your life, multitasking is basically a lot of windows and a lot of things going on at once. Before computers got too fancy, before we got to past Facebook, I remember like MySpace. All right, you guys remember MySpace? I don't either.
I remember.
But remember, it was like you go on there and like people would. This was actually, it was like almost like a crash course into HTML. I think some people might have learned how to code on MySpace just making a background, but that's another story
For another day.
Exactly. But with those things, there were so many things running at the same time. There's the background graphic. There's the YouTube video that someone put on. The multiple windows, the multiple processes running at one time are going to cloud your mind just like it would cloud up and slow down your computer. So turn off your devices, get with the program, learn how to focus, really maximize your time. Sometimes you're in a training, you're in a classroom, you're somewhere, but you're not present. Be totally present, be totally aware. You're already making the investment. Commit fully.
Here's my question. What are you downloading into your mind today? Is it content that's going to increase your performance, or is it just infotainment? There's a lot of infotainment. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people out there that know a lot of stuff, but they don't do what they need to do because they're so distracted. And it's going to keep you from your number one outcome. And so what we need to do is turn them off, obviously allocate the time that you're going to do what you need to do, but get that time and shift it into creating strategies that are in alignment with your next gear so that you can get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely. Look, Stephanie learned HTML from MySpace. I'm telling you,
it was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing, Stephanie.
It was more entertaining. And you had to like search for them. And then like you'd learn it because you'd have to go put in the code and you'd put the layout, but then you'd have to remove like the banner because they'd put like the free, you didn't want their banner of like whoever like made the layout. So you'd learn how to chuck that out the window. Excellent. So let's talk about some more practical ways to high performance. Identify, define, and see yourself as the high performer as of now.
Wow. This for us has been instrumental, especially during my health concerns many years ago and to where I'm at right now. As a matter of fact, I just received my Ironman VR medal today. And I'm very proud of that.
I was going to say, I think he's proud of that.
I'm very proud of that.
He's proud of that. Guys.
It's not because of the medal. It's because of the high performance, that style. If you identify and say, hey, a year from now, 2 years from now, I'm going to do X, and you visualize it and you maintain your faith and you do what needs to be done, right? Just like if you're going to plan a trip, you create that strategy, you find out what the budget is, the logistics, the 5 W's, who, what, why, where, and when, and then see it. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. I know math wasn't your strong suit. Got it. Remember that so 7th grade. It was a teacher.
Wow, you're good. It was a teacher.
Just
pulled that from his unconscious mind. His unconscious mind.
But guess what? If you see it as of now, that's what faith is. You can't see it. You can't even touch it. But you know in your heart that because you have that calling and you have that passion, that it is going to happen. You have to call it into existence.
Yeah, I like this one, Stephanie. It looks like it's like looking at the activity monitors on your computers. What's taking up all of your performance? I don't know where the origin was, but I remember the story of someone saying, again, I don't know if it's true or not. If you know it, comment, leave it there. All good. But the example was that someone was going to put a stopwatch around their neck and start it. That what they were doing at their job was actually something that would consistently make them money. So not responding to emails and not responding to clients he already had. But anytime he was doing something that would make him or the company money, he would start the stopwatch. If you were to do that with your life, in your business or your career, or even what your goal is, right? When we talk about ROI, return on investment, but what's
we don't talk about ROE, return on the experience. And
Yeah.
it's because some of the life
Yeah.
goals, you cannot measure them in dollars and cents, folks.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Return on experience, your spiritual life, your relationships. Those are areas, your health. You can't measure them with dollars and cents. So you have to create those experiences and you see them as if you're happy, as if it's happening now. You know, I recall when I was preparing for our 40th wedding anniversary, my wife and I, which we celebrated 3 years ago, a year and a half before that, I created that strategy in our, what we teach in our coaching program, our lifestyle management strategy, and had all the elements that every 90 days I would have her experience something that would get us close to that world tour that we did in Greece and Italy and all those things. It was really nice. Why? Because we saw it as if now. I saw it 18 months ahead of time, and then we created the map to get there. We had some markers and we had some accountability.
So and it's also about envisioning, right? We talk about, we've mentioned that at a couple of trainings and things, but the power of what your vision is. You go to what you can see. If you don't see something, you don't go to it, right?
Come on.
If I'm thinking about something, if I'm hungry and I pass, healthy fast food, but if you see it, then you'll think, hey, maybe I can go there. It's the same thing with identifying and making a belief inside of you as if now.
They may not have a vision.
But that's the thing. You have to actually pretend you can, even if you know you can, as if now. Basically, that means you have to do it as if you know it's going to happen.
Yes.
Because the example I use all the time is, if I told you that I could jump from this house or from this building to the next building, and let's say the buildings are, 20 yards apart, you might be like, no, you can't. That is you projecting your problems your limitations onto me. So if I say, yes, I can, and I try it, I'm envisioning I'm halfway there, because the mindset game is half the battle.
So let me ask you something, Coach.
Because the mind will quit before the body will even try. And we've been saying that for years.
Is that what worked for you when you jumped from the top of the house to the above ground pool when you were a kid? Is that what you did?
That actually worked.
And it did work.
And I didn't break anything.
Thank God.
That's a good story, though.
Don't try that at home.
Second story to an above ground 4-foot pool. Live to tell the tale.
Not a good thing. Do not try this at home.
Yes.
But the reality is,
I saw it as if now I am falling safely into above ground pool. And it happened. Because without vision, people perish. It's just a principle. It's a principle of ages. What's next, Coach? So let's talk about the last practical way to high performance. Define your higher intent and purpose. Figure out your intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation for doing what you do. This is his saying. So I'm gonna let you roll with it. Wow. I don't know what you want me to say. Whatever you want. Cue me up. I don't know what that means. Here's what's important. Right? If you don't see the future as if now, you're going to continue to go for the temporary pleasures, right? Because we're human. And it's so, oh my God, I'm sorry. It's so easy. I just want to jump in. Put me in, Coach. It's so easy. When we talked about devices, I mean, just look at everything around us, guys. Everything. Remember video games from the old days? They took forever. And if you died, there was no continuing. Maybe there was one. And you'd be dead. D-E-D, dead. Now you're all free of that. You're living and loving lives. But that was the problem. Now there's just so much instant gratification. They give us these little garbage little mini games, smartphones, that we can fire up, and it consumes our time, and it's good at what it does. Small little things that take us away from our goals, our lives, our spouses, our kids, our family, our work, our jobs, our responsibilities. Man, procrastination station right hot in here, bro. So what we're saying is, if you don't see the pain in the future today of continuing to do what you're doing with the distractions, guess what's going to happen, folks? You're going to the car's going to hit the sidewall. It's going to derail. I know we got some car fans. I know. Here. I see Gerald. Race car fans, right? Gerald likes Honda Civics. He likes a good Civic Si, a little 4-door banger. Love you, Gerald. Glad you're with us, brother. Having fun. But guess what? You've got to have some intrinsic motivation. So you've got to decide, what are all the compelling reasons why you want that outcome, why you want what you want? And also, is it in alignment with your higher intent? What's your calling?
What were you called to do? What's your ultimate purpose in this world?
A lot of people are getting that wake up call now. It's kind of amazing because I actually heard that on the radio this morning. The radio. I haven't said that. I was listening to the radio.
You're listening to radio?
I was listening to the radio today.
Whoa.
But they were talking about a lot of people are finding their new purpose during COVID. Is COVID still going on? Is that a thing still?
It's a thing.
News? Yeah.
Somebody says it's a thing.
Got it. But they were saying a lot of people were still or were finding their new purpose, and people were making candles and doing all kinds of random things, and that's amazing because that's what we're trying to get people to do. We're trying to assist them to realize that they can do anything.
It's another level of thinking. It's tapping back into your imagination and your curiosity, thinking outside the box. Because the reality is, and COVID is a reality, and we want you to be safe. But the reality is that you cannot allow COVID to identify who you are, to derail you from your calling and your purpose in this world.
And don't allow it to become one of your limitations. Yes, things have happened. People have been furloughed, and it's happened to friends and families around us. But how you bounce back is more important than how you are when you're stagnant, when you were comfortable, when you were just consistently picking up that biweekly check. Something happened. Okay, it's time to dust it off, shake your tail feather, get up and get back at it, because nothing, what are you waiting for? Because I don't know about you, but I've been hearing about the second outbreak coming for a long time. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm not worried about it.
But the reality is that a lot of folks think that other people have to motivate them. So they want to go to a conference and they want to go to a concert. And those are all great things, folks. We're not judging.
Yeah,
we
go to them too.
We're just saying you have to identify what's going to work for you, for your own intrinsic and your extrinsic motivation. And if you need extrinsic motivation, check who are your peers, right? Who are you walking with? Who are you talking with? Because that's going to determine who you are as well sometimes. Your tribe determines your vibe. Just saying.
Or your vibe.
Or the other way around.
Determines your tribe.
Something like that.
Either way, it
determines.
Nobody knows what it means.
You know what we're talking about. No, but in all seriousness, you got to define your higher intent. And if you don't know what that is, you need to consult with someone who's going to guide you, coach you, and get that agenda that you want. Not anybody else's agenda, not some third party or, perhaps someone that you trust that's in the same stuckness that you are. That's not going to work. The reality is that everybody needs a coach, and not just because we're a coach training institute, but we have our own coaches. We have people that we're accountable to. We have several peer groups that continue to push us to go further and higher because we know what we've been called to do. We've been called to see what you cannot see so that you can become who the Creator has destined you to be. It matters to me not that you believe in a specific religion or creed or anything. What matters to me is that you know in whom you believe, and that you basically take those beliefs and walk in alignment with them, and not blame people, not blame events, because people are reacting to everything all the time. I have my beliefs. I know who I believe in, and my Savior, not an issue, right? But what you need to believe is in yourself, first of all, in your Creator, in yourself, in those people around you, your family, so that you can go that next gear, right? You may be in second gear today. You may just be starting off on your journey. Some people have lost their jobs. We understand it. Some people have lost their businesses. And we know that's a reality, but it doesn't stop there.
And the fact of the matter is, guys, it is June 18th, 2020. And because of everything, I hear the language, and it's pretty much consistently, when's 2021? Throw 2020 out the door. Guys, the year's half over, and that kind of feels weird because it's kind of just gone by. We've been living. I've been quarantine dreaming for the past 3 months, and life is great. I mean, I'm whatever happens, but it is June 18th. We're almost halfway through the year. Why would we throw the rest in the trash when we can just take this opportunity for those who haven't been living the high performance lifestyle to put it into gear and really hit the ground running? Half the year is almost over. What are you waiting for? What's your purpose? What's your intention? What's your motivation? What are you waiting for?
When is now a good time to decide to take the next level of your life? Decide what that's going to be. What's the intent? What's your higher power? What's your calling? what's either your ministry, your profession, your relationship. Where's your relationship at?
Mm-hmm.
I heard it from one of our mentors that if you're not growing, you're dying. If your relationship's not growing, it's dying. If your spiritual life is not growing, it's dying. It's the natural order of things. Well, let's not focus on that. You hear people tuned into the media about the COVID statistics and the deaths and the this and the that. Why don't we focus on what's working well? Why don't we focus on people who are out there making a difference? I heard a broadcast today of faith-based communities, over 700 faith leaders that were gathering on one phone call to see how we can get together, all different races, creeds, and color, to be able to push America forward. Those people are in what we call creating. They are not in the effect. They are at cause.
Right.
Where are you going to be today? That's my question. Are you going to create and design, or are you going to be reacting and continuing to blame?
And if you're already crushing it, if you're already performing at a high level, what's next? What's next for you? How can you gear it up? How can you gear it up even more?
Take it to the next level.
Yeah. What are you waiting for?
Let's do it. The time is now.
Thank you, guys.
We gotta go.
It's been a pleasure. We'll see you in 2 weeks for our next episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, it is truly a pleasure. We honor you. Again, we know you could be doing anything else right now, like playing one of those games on your little Disney
smart devices,
Disney emoji, or all these other new
smart
games
devices
that are happening. But you're here with us. We appreciate you. We'll see you in 2 weeks with some new stuff, some new content. Have a great night, guys.
Godspeed.
We'll see you soon.
Take care.